Welcome to With You Podcast. I'm David.
And I'm Tara, and we're here to explore relationships and life transitions.
Yeah, and today we're going to have a special episode, and it's just in time for February 14th. It's all about having a love and hate relationship with Valentine's Day.
Yeah, so happy Valentine's Day.
Yes, happy Valentine's Day.
It's a holiday here that we celebrate in the U.S. I don't know where else it's acknowledged, but whether you're a hopeless romantic or a happy single figuring out how to hang out with your friends on Valentine's Day, I think everybody has strong feelings about Valentine's Day, and I know you do for sure.
I do have strong feelings about Valentine's Day because it's the day I came onto this earth.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Well, thank you. Yeah. It's my birthday today. So we're excited because Valentine's Day is about love and we want to focus on that. But there's certain things about the day, like me having to share it, maybe a little bit, that leads to less than desirable feelings towards Valentine's Day. So
yes. And that is why maybe you have really strong feelings about the day, but it's not our whole focus.
No. And so we're gonna play a game a little bit, I think, about Valentine's Day, if you're open to it.
Yeah, it sounds harsh to say love it or hate it. We don't usually love throwing around the word hate, but it's just in good fun.
Yeah.
And we do have feelings about a lot of the stuff that comes along with celebrating that holiday. We're going to tell the story first of our first Valentine's Day together.
Oh, that's
when
right.
we were dating.
Yeah.
Way back yonder in the old days.
Yeah, the olden days. And I think it's like old with O-L-D-E.
Right.
Oldie days.
Has to be. Yeah. So you're the first person I ever met that really had strong feelings about not celebrating Valentine's Day.
Yes, that's true. It was kind of like, people nowadays have prenups. We didn't have a lot towards that, but what we did talk about was my expectations about Valentine's Day.
Yes, you made it really clear, and I appreciate the clarity. So when we were first dating, most people probably try to put some effort into their first Valentine's Day date, and you made it really clear to me that it was your birthday, and we would always celebrate your birthday on February 14th, and not this holiday created by Hallmark. Well, we don't really know where it was first.
No, how it became the love. I mean, there's lots of traditions back to Roman times and festivals on virility and love connection, and then connected to Saint Valentine, but they can't nail it down to one Saint Valentine. So
something with massacres and
there's been
unsavory things. So
a lot of painful things as well as kind of love focus.
Right. So there's a lot of stories about how it might have gotten started, and I'm trying to look up an article I wrote many years ago about the history of Valentine's Day, but you can look it up yourselves.
That's not the focus.
No. All we know is that now it's a highly celebrated holiday that's focused on romantic love. Yeah. And we have feelings about some of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so we're going to go through things that you'd think about in relation to Valentine's Day one by one and say whether we love it or hate it.
That's right.
All right.
I was going to loop back to, I want to not be such a old sock about Valentine's Day. Our first Valentine's date, we did go out trying to celebrate both birthday and Valentine's Day.
We did make an effort. Yeah. We were just, I think, in our first year of dating, and so it's February, and just to understand the context, what
does February look like here in the Midwest?
So you're already getting into the things I hate. February is my least favorite month of the year, and partly because now we live in Illinois and it's the darkest, coldest,
dreary, bland,
not
cold.
Much to look forward to, and we always get sick. It's just when post holidays and
people
the
are
weather.
All together. Kids are little cesspools.
Everybody's indoors, so you're
germs.
touching things. And so that first year, you were sick with the flu or mono or something awful where you were.
But I was going to muscle through because we were dating and I wanted to kind of fit in with the cultural norm of like, I'm interested in you and want to have a loving kind of time. So we
Well,
found a restaurant.
I think it might have been about your birthday. And
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
I don't know who made I don't know how we chose this restaurant.
Yeah, it was a strange restaurant.
It was strange. It was a Chinese restaurant. We love Chinese food, but
Yeah.
it was the atmosphere inside looked more like a wilderness lodge. It was strange.
Yeah, well, and that's where we weren't feeling well. So we are not sure if it's a fever dream or an actual reality memory, but there was like a wooden bridge over some kind of body of water, river going through the restaurant inside.
Yeah, it was odd. And it wasn't a large place. So I don't know how that all fit
do
there.
you remember like the stuffed animal heads and fish and
Yeah.
And it's a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah. And I think I gave you a gift of little coupons for, like we didn't have money. So
no, it
little
was
book
like
of coupons for
you'd wash the car or give me a back rub or walk in the park and I could redeem those coupons. It was lovely.
Well, we tried, but we don't have great memories of that,
that
outing.
That was the start. And from that point, we kind of had strong feelings about love and despise Valentine's Day. So why don't we get into like game show and we'll read the topics. The first is flowers.
Right. Everybody gives or gets flowers maybe on Valentine's Day. What's your first thought?
Hate. So it might take a little bit to explain this, but I think flowers are beautiful. I think when we walk through the Arboretum, it's lovely to see the signs of spring, but cut flowers are a bad metaphor for love. Because it's like there's something dead that I'm giving you that kind of go bad in 2 days. That's not what I want you to think about when you think about my love. And so I'm not a big fan of cut flowers.
Yes, and it goes back to your growing up in a funeral home and all the flowers that were given, right? I mean,
there would just be flowers, and it was connected with death. So everybody gives flowers around death, and they leave them. And so my brother and I would gather flowers up, and those would be the flowers we gave to my mom.
Yeah, and she was grateful to receive those and very, very generous with you guys.
Yes, she was, but that was there's just death is associated with flowers.
That's
for me.
your association. But I will say I'm going to check my box of loving flowers. And I will say when we first started our relationship, I told you I was not interested. I didn't care if I received flowers. I was not into a dozen roses and that whole gesture.
So happy about that.
But my tune changed.
Yeah, it did.
Because we live where we live and because the winter is long and dark and gray
and lack of color.
I have come to really appreciate flowers in my life, and I love to have a spot of color and some hope for spring coming.
Yeah, and I have bought you flowers occasionally.
Maybe once or twice.
Yes. And the first time was a potted plant of flowers because again, I wanted it to represent my love is grounded and growing. And if we care for it, it won't die. And
even though we always kill plants.
Yeah, that's a whole nother issue.
Yeah, but I am happy to buy myself my own flowers.
Yeah, and they are pretty for the day or two that they last.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that was number 1, flowers. Number 2, candy and chocolate.
Yeah, I know where you land on this.
How about you? We'll start with you
you can't hate candy and chocolate. I'm a love for candy and chocolate.
Yeah, I am a love for candy and chocolate too. And I do like the chalky, heart-shaped
conversation
hearts. I think that's fun. You could make lots of fun statements.
They taste terrible.
Oh, yeah, no. Despicable. Yeah. But they're fun to play with.
Yeah. They're associated with Valentine's Day. The little hearts that they literally taste like chalk, but they say be mine or,
kisses.
Some message on them.
Yeah.
So you could give the appropriate one to somebody.
Yeah. And I just like to play with my food. So I think that's fun.
Yeah.
And then chocolate.
Yeah.
We don't have to explain
what's not
chocolate.
to like about chocolate?
Darker the better.
Yeah. You're always a fan of chocolate.
Yeah.
So giving of candy and chocolate.
We could do that.
Great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. All right. Third.
Yeah.
Consumerism
and commercialism around Valentine's Day, I think is kind of the source of our hate.
Yeah.
I think we're both going to check the hate box on this one.
Yes, I do hate commercialism and consumerism around love. And one of the things that just kind of got me, so I commuted downtown Chicago for a bunch of the time, and I would see on Valentine's Day men in the train station or at the gas station or at stores around, just buying up crap as a as a like last ditch effort to
Yeah.
communicate their love for their partner.
Yeah.
And it was
So I
just
think it's the pressure. It's
yeah,
the expectation that comes with that, because what's pushed with consumerism is that if you love somebody, you've got to buy them this or that. And
yeah, quantity or expense, I think.
Mhm.
And I fell into that. I mean, I bought you tons of stuff and you're like, I don't need more stuff. It needs to be thoughtful.
Mhm.
And I don't think you can buy nice things that are thoughtful for people, but a lot of times it's just stuff to try to demonstrate
Yeah. And our
love and
shelves are
affection.
just packed with Valentine's themed stuff in every store. And we talked about loving candy and chocolate, but that's part of what's, as soon as the Christmas candy and things went out of the stores, the minute it went out, all the shelves were pink and red with Valentine's Day candy. And,
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
little
it's the,
overwhelming
yeah,
or just over.
overdone.
Yeah, extreme. So that's
Yeah.
not a big thing that we
So that's
love.
a big no.
No. All right. So the next one, so far, we make half on flowers and we both love
Yeah.
chocolate.
So we're kind of even.
Romance and celebrating love.
How do you feel about romance, David?
Oh, man. So as a marriage and family therapist, I probably should say I'm for it. Yeah, I guess I'm for it. I mean, it's,
Well,
it's,
what do we mean by romance? I
yeah.
guess that's
I think of it as that high emotional expressiveness, and that kind of makes me a little like vomit in my mouth a little bit. But I think deep celebration of love and commitment and
mhm.
thoughtfulness. I'm all for that. And maybe it's because of how long we've been together. Of the emotional highs and lows they're kind of fleeting, and so a celebration of a fleeting emotion, I'm not for. But like cherishing you and being able to be thoughtful in expression of how much I cherish you, I'm for that.
Yeah. And I mean I'm definitely going to say I'm a love of the idea of celebrating love, And I think if we have to qualify it at all,
Yeah.
Valentine's Day is focusing on celebrating just romantic love
Yeah. Erotic
and a
love.
certain ideal of romantic love.
Yeah.
And like you said, the high moments and the holding hands and which great.
Yeah.
We are fans of that. We're in
Yeah.
favor of love and romance.
We don't want to be
We
misunderstood.
don't want to be the biggest Scrooges in the world, but I'd love to expand the idea to celebrating love in lots of ways.
Yeah. Beyond just the erotic love. I don't know. Eros is,
Yeah.
there's different types of love and romantic.
Let's just say romantic love.
Okay. And yeah, I think we can do better and do more than just
Right.
that
So
feeling.
you can take that idea and expand it. And I have had fun doing that for our kids and
Yeah.
for friends and expanding it beyond just the idea of your one true love that you're starry-eyed about
Yeah.
and showing love to everyone, especially the people who might otherwise just be alone on a day where everybody's expecting to be
Yeah.
showered with teddy bears and roses.
Well, and I think it's being prescribed, right? Like prescribed romance, I'm not a fan
Yeah.
of. It's like the things you just listed, you do that spontaneously at different times throughout the week, throughout the year. And there's a beauty to it because I'm thinking of this person and I'm going to show the affection that I have towards them by doing something that's important to them versus this is the day for romance and
Right.
we have to get all gussied up and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like being told what to do.
No, we both are a little reactive about being told the way we should do something. But on the other hand, it's nice to have maybe a reason for some people to reach out when they wouldn't otherwise
Yeah.
show their love. So
Well,
we see the good side of
we
that.
watch romantic comedies.
Yeah, you get really gushy about
Oh,
rom-coms.
I know, so I don't know
Sorry,
how to
I just
answer.
made that public.
I don't know how to answer the romantic because, like, yeah, I'll cry at the end of almost every rom-com we've ever seen, and it drives me crazy. And you
So-
look at me like,
We're saying we're not we're not against romantic love.
Yeah.
But how about another way to expand that idea? What do you think of Galentine's Day?
You know,
This is a new, so just to explain what that is, I mean, I don't know how many years that term has been around, but people have expanded the idea
yeah.
of Valentine's Day to gal, like girls hanging out together.
Oh, not a quantity of liquid.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. What do you think about that?
I actually love it. I do have why does it have to be gal? Can it be Valentine's Day?
I'm sure it can be.
Yeah, but I think the idea of friendship and kind of community and it does expand to a different type of love.
Yeah.
It's this love of close, vulnerable, open connection. And how can you be against that? I'm totally loving Valentine's Day.
Or just your girlfriends and wine and chocolate. I mean,
yeah. or guy friends.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I think it's a good thing. How about you? How do you feel about that?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
So are you going out tonight with your gals?
Maybe.
All right. Well, I support that. So and we'll celebrate birthday another day.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So, good. I love when we agree and we can find something we love. Let's talk about school Valentines.
Yeah. So this is the practice of kids, in school giving each other little cards on Valentine's Day.
Yeah. In 1970s, when we were little kids, we got to make little boxes. I think I took shoebox, cut a slit through it and colored it. And that was the mailbox on the front of your desk for cards that you got from all your friends.
So you'd put your own mailbox on your desk and then kids would go around and deliver their cards that they usually are handmade cards.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that practice?
Well, I feel like I should not like it given how much I feel about Valentine's Day, but I kind of like it.
Yeah, so you're a love it.
I think I'm a love it for friends sharing and giving cards to. I think there can be a downside in terms of social pressure, but by and large, I think I'm for the fun joke cards, and I still can lean into that 8-year-old boy that I am.
Yeah.
And do that. So how about for you?
I hate it.
Well, do tell.
In my experience of it, there was a lot in our day, there was no requirement that everybody had to get a card. So you could bring a card for just your favorite people in the class. And so I remember often there being some really sad kids who got nothing in their mailbox and other popular kids whose mailbox was overflowing. And I hated that. I hated to see that disparity. And I don't remember that when our children were in school. The tradition still happens in the school where kids make their cards and bring them and deliver them. But I think it's required that you bring one for everyone, which is great.
Yeah.
But there's also more parental involvement these days. And so they usually were engineered by the parent. And it was a competition kind of thing,
so
who could make the most.
Yeah. Cold War of best Valentine's.
Best Valentine.
Cars.
And it wasn't just a child-made cute little crayon drawing anymore. It was with gifts attached and clever sayings, and it became a lot of pressure instead of a free expression, I feel like.
Yeah.
So, I just have those associations with
that makes sense to me.
Valentine's.
I'm still, I wasn't the popular kid, but it was a day that was more than just Valentine's for me. So I tended to get a lot more
you
cards
got birthday cards.
Because my mom would bring in the cake. And so, but it does make sense of favoritism and things like that.
Don't love it.
We don't.
Because it's all obligatory, you know?
It's again forced. Hey, you have to give Tara a card. It's well, I don't like Tara. Why do I have to give her a card?
Right.
It's because you give everybody a card. It's no. And then it's just David. I just wrote my name on cards that kids I wasn't super into.
Well, I'm sure you didn't really write messages for anyone. I can't imagine that.
It was a long
you
missive.
don't now.
Yeah. I wrote long missives. Well, maybe we should go into that. So we're split on school Valentines.
Yes.
Sending cards and messages of love.
Yeah.
On Valentine's Day, but we can expand that, right? Just sending messages and messages of love.
And apparently I did read that it's Valentine's Day is the second largest after Christmas of the numbers of cards exchanged. And I love it. I love handwritten cards. I think it's becoming a lost art, and I love any reason to send cards and receive handwritten notes.
Yeah, my handwriting is really bad, so no one can really read the intent anyway. And it's just cards are expensive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is
The
a
pre-printed ones in the
investment.
store have become really expensive.
Yeah.
So I'm not a fan really of spending all your money on the pre-printed ones. I like the original messages.
Yeah, with a personal, and I get that. I'm not like card writing is not my love language, but
No.
when I get one, I really appreciate the ones that have a meaningful message. And my grandparents were really good at that. My grandma always put different verses. Well, she put the same verse, but it was always like a message of love of Proverbs 3, 4, 5, and 6, and about making your path straight. The Lord does
Yeah.
that. I think it was she was worried about me and wanted to communicate. Stay on the straight and narrow, David.
Behave, David.
And my grandfather was jokes, and he would just say funny things and about the weather. But that was intimacy and letting me know they love me.
So are you saying you're a fan? You love it? Because you're not a sender of cards.
No, I would say hate is too strong of a word. So I am mildly amused by cards.
Mildly entertained.
Yeah, can we have a middle ground?
No, you don't have to take a stand, I guess.
Yeah, I'll just say, just for the point of our game, I hate cards.
Okay.
So
yeah, it's not your favorite way to receive love.
I want to spend time with you and have you spend time with me. That's love. But the messages are key.
Yeah, messages are great. So what about heart-shaped everything?
I just had to shiver. I'm not really excited about heart-shaped things. So this comes from years and years and years and years of heart-shaped things that I receive, specifically cakes. That I have. I am on Valentine's Day. I'm going to say I hate hearts. It's horrible.
You're sounding like such a curmudgeon.
I know.
Yeah, your association with the heart-shaped things on your birthday has kind of set you on this path. But
yeah, and I understand the intent. I mean, my mom even bestowed on you a heart-shaped cake pan.
She did, and she lovingly made you heart-shaped cakes for your birthday. And when we got married, bequeathed to me the heart-shaped pan so I could continue that. And you said you were kind of all done with that.
It got lost in the moves, I believe.
I know where it is.
Oh, no. But yeah, it was just, I'd like something different, some variety.
Yeah.
In
So
life.
I think the overdoing of the hearts in the commercialized Valentine's Day is a little much. So I in general, I think hearts are cute. I send them in texts, but for Valentine's Day, it becomes a little ick.
Yeah. And the nerd in me is like, well, our emotions are actually in our brains as well, neurologically. Like there's nothing that resides in our heart except for a big muscle and blood.
Oh boy.
And so
let's get into biology now.
Yeah. So you're against heart-shaped everything.
I mean
Go ahead, say it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you love it or hate it?
Kind of hate it. But that doesn't mean if somebody's given me a heart-shaped thing that I hate that. I love a genuine expression of love, even if it's a heart.
Right. These are just in the abstract. If you've ever given us, Mom, a heart-shaped thing, I so appreciate it. I understand where it comes from, and I'm looking forward to opening up your card today and seeing the hearts that are in there.
So on the same line, what about the colors red and pink?
This is painful because I'm going to say hate again.
Yeah.
I hate the color red during Valentine's Day. I mean, I like it normally, but Valentine's Day,
it's just a lot.
Yeah. And my friends and colleagues know that. So my office has been papered in red. All my diplomas and pictures and books in my office have been wrapped in red. There's been heart-shaped red things leading to my office. It's just, and you know what? I think they know that.
Oh, I think,
it's
I
not
think
necessarily my fave.
Yeah.
And are playing.
Really fun.
Yeah. How about for you? Pink and red?
No. I mean, I don't even wear those colors. I don't.
Yeah.
Like I can't think
your
of
color palette.
No, I guess not. It's not my fave. So at Valentine's Day, it feels like
it's a little shocking,
a little much.
Yeah.
So I'm not a fan. I never was a pink kind of girl.
No.
So yeah, I'm going to say hate.
I love that. I don't know
Yeah.
why that gives me joy, but that does. And
Yeah. Oh, no, we have another one coming up that we don't love. This is really, we're going to get some,
this is going to be some pushback.
We might get our first round of letters.
And they're not nice handwritten letters.
No.
So, all right. So the next one is going out to dinner on Valentine's Day.
Yeah. We never do it.
Hate
it.
Yeah. For lots of different reasons.
Yeah. So what are the reasons?
So the reasons for me are expensive. Like everything is 3 times as expensive, and you don't get a lot of choices. You have that French word that's on every menu.
Prix.
Oh yeah, that's it.
The fixed price menus where you have a prescribed choice. So again, we don't like when the choices are made for us.
That's right.
And then here's your final price.
Yeah.
And it's going to be more expensive just because it's this day.
Yep. And they bring you a rose.
Yeah. And it's your birthday.
And it's my birthday. So, but it's, and just everybody trying so hard, like going out. It's so the cost, that's one thing. Do you want me to list out?
Sure.
The next one is trying to get a reservation. Is super difficult. So it's hard. And then when you do go out, everybody is pressured. I mean, it's like being caught up in an Instagram world where everybody's posing and taking selfies and positioning. And
we know this because we have tried it a couple times. I think we went out.
Yeah.
I forget what the restaurant was. It was a little like upscale from what we normally would do.
Yeah.
And so we thought, we should
try to
participate
fit within the culture.
In this whole thing. But it just confirmed our bad feelings about it.
Yeah.
There were balloons bobbing around and
couples doughy-eyed on oxytocin that you knew it was going to be a problem the next day. I mean, it's just, how about you?
Well, I think that's pretty clear. It's not our favorite time to go out. We do celebrate our own love and our relationship, but we just don't want to do it on that day when everybody else is out. Yeah. We don't like crowds. We don't like expensive meals. We don't. So we do it our own way.
Yeah, and I think the best birthday meals, there's been 2 of my favorite birthday meals that we've had. The first one was when you made a family recipe for me. Oh. I knew you loved me.
Well, that is true. That was a true test.
So the Van Dyke men on their birthdays get oyster stew, which is this beautiful concoction that's just delicious.
It's disgusting. Sorry, Grandma Van Dyke.
Yeah.
So
My
your traditional meal on your birthday was oyster stew.
Ah, so good.
And basically it's fresh oysters, whole milk, and butter.
Yeah. Well, you cook the oysters in the butter. And then you pour the butter and oysters into the hot milk.
And you're lactose intolerant.
Oh, totally lactose intolerant. It just destroys me.
So, when we were first married, as an act of love, I made you the oyster stew, got the recipe from your grandma. And
it was a surprise when I came home. I was quite thrilled. We were living in a basement apartment or garden level apartment of a house.
And I made the mistake of cutting the oysters in half because I thought they were too big, and it leaked this gray fluid, and it was a gray soup. It was awful.
And then you're like, I am not eating this. And I think I ate a whole gallon of oyster stew that evening because it was expensive too for us.
Oh yeah, it was a splurge. And so that's your favorite birthday memory?
Well, that's one. And then because it showed again, it wasn't necessarily the outcome of it. It was the process of showing you wanted to connect with my family upbringing and tradition, and it made a good story.
It still does.
I think that was the last time you made oyster stew for me or the family. And then the second one was fondue. That's our traditional Valentine's Day experience. Is peanut oil heated up in a ceramic bowl.
Well, we got the whole 70s fondue set.
Yeah,
so we have, that's a fun tradition.
And so that's what we love to do, is kind of sitting around and even having friends over if they're not bought into the cult that is St. Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
So the last love it or hate it is creative expression that is seen during St. Valentine's Day.
Love it.
Love it. Yeah, we have to end on a love it.
Yeah.
And the creative expression,
Yeah, because some people really knock it out of the park for Valentine's Day.
they go
And
crazy.
do something different or really find out what's meaningful to the person you love. And if Valentine's Day is an impetus or a jumping off point for that, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
To really clearly communicate you're worth my creativity, you're worth the time. And it's not because of anything other than just who you are that I want to do something special, which is different than, so that creative expression is different than I have to do this because everybody else is doing it. And if not, I'm a loser in your eyes. That's a very different kind of St. Valentine's Day. Underneath all of this is a message that's running, and it's really about what is love. I think, is it something that's prescribed or is it something that's creative? And I'm curious of what is love for us. And would you like to go first, honey?
Well, that's just a small question.
Yeah.
What is love?
I have a song in my head, but we don't want to pay copyright, so I'm not going to sing it.
Well, I mean, the genuine answer is that God is love.
Yeah.
He is love.
That's the center of our relationship and meaning. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, I think we believe that he's the only example of true unconditional sacrificial love, which is what our deepest desire is as humans, to be loved that way, to be fully known and still loved. That's the dream, right?
Yeah. And because I don't like parts of me. I don't like seeing parts of me, and you seeing that and still embracing me, that's love. And it creates a sense of safety to be in. And it's because I think sometimes people think religion or think God is the rules, kind of like the forced rules of Valentine's Day, the forced rules of you have to do this or you're not enough. You have to do this or you're not loved. And that's just frankly wrong.
Yeah, I think people do think that if they buy into the God, following God thing, that it means I'm going to have to change my lifestyle. I'm going to have to go to church and behave this certain way. And that's kind of a backwards way of looking at it, the way we see it. If you really understand how much you're loved unconditionally, then God just allows us to express our love back to him in whatever way is most us. You know, I think there's freedom in that. The response is up to us.
That's right.
And it should come abundantly out of our understanding that we're loved and our gratefulness for that.
Yeah. And so on a Valentine's Day, it's not a bad thing to have Valentine's Day.
Yeah, just to be clear,
that
we are in favor of true expressions of love.
Right. And it's not the obligatory. And it involves being open, being honest, being vulnerable. I mean, that's so hard, right? And then prescribing it on a day makes it feel something that it's not.
Yeah.
And being able to be known and to be curious enough to know you, that's the beauty. And it's kind of been fun doing this with you, the podcast, not the love it or hate it, but the podcast, because I've gotten to know a different side of you, and it's been fun to see us try to interact differently.
Try to agree on stuff.
Yeah, try to figure out, do we love and hate the same things, and can we be okay if we don't?
Well, and just in case anybody's thinking of writing in and saying that David's awful for not giving flowers and being romantic, I don't need those things because you express your love in 1,000 different ways every day. So it's a daily thing, and we don't need the big gestures on the special days.
Yeah, and they're nice, and I'm not opposed to it, but again, it's the force. And you're spending time with me, and I mean, from the very beginning, like going to a baseball game with me where you had no idea what it was. And to be fair, I put you through the ringer. You had to do box score and all of that. But that demonstrated love of something that you did that you knew I enjoyed doing. To connect and to kind of get inside my world, and the reverse is true too. And when we do it that way, for me, it's thinking about how do I love you as an act of worship, as a appreciation of God's love for me, that I love you as an act to him. Then it frees me up if we're having a bad day, and something's got me squirrely, or I'm not happy with something you did, or that it's not conditional. My love isn't conditional. And so underneath all of this is we love, And we love the spontaneity of it, but not the prescriptive of like, you have to do this or it's not okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the takeaway.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us on this interesting exploration of love.
Both the sweet and the bitter.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for more. We'll be back next week with more on With You podcast. So don't forget to leave us a review.
Yeah, subscribe. Tell your friends if they want to hear some Scroogey people about love or some interesting things.